Today on Drawbli, Abby is drawing
hands.
Click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
Comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
And share your work online with the hashtag Drawbli.
Hands. We all got them. Oh, we all like them.
Most people do.
Yeah. These hands are references I found on Pinterest. I draw like 4 different hands, and the idea is to employ new tactics I got through some YouTube videos.
New tactics. Ooh. Tell me about your new tactics. I'm excited.
One of our commenters, Lord Backdoor, recommended...
I've heard of him.
Yeah. Hi, if you're listening. And he recommended this Cynics video, which was... what was it? Like, literally like a beginner's guide to digital painting. And I don't know what that means he thought about my work, but no, I'm just kidding. We had actually just started learning about this new form of painting, alla primo.
Alla prima?
Alla prima. Just say it fast. Nobody will know that we don't know how to pronounce it.
Alla prima.
Still to this day. And since that was so new, I presume I probably looked like I needed the beginner to digital painting YouTube video. But anyway, I did watch it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that was so much amazing information. Of course, if you're watching us, odds are maybe you've heard of Cynics, an incredibly prolific and wonderful YouTube artist who is well known for their very good tutorials and instructional courses.
Yeah, they're a great teacher.
They are a fantastic teacher. And so not only did I watch that video, I watched the sequel to that video and attempted to go ahead and start to apply things here.
Tell me about the sequel.
So I don't think I can remember exactly what was in the sequel versus the original, but my biggest takeaway was that it reinforced what we learned from that other YouTube video that we watched at that one point.
Starting with 2 basic colors was, I think, your big takeaway from that, right?
Yes. Starting with 2 basic colors.
And what do those 2 basic colors represent?
Light or mid-tone and shadow, although
mid-tone and shadow.
In that hand, the contrast was so high, it was kind of like light shadow specifically.
Right. That hand that we just zoomed right past looked awesome, by the way.
Thank you. I'll put it up at the end again for a little bit longer, so, it'll be there longer. This hand has a lot less sharp contrast, so honestly, this one was a lot harder. I still wanted to do 2 base colors to start.
The way you're starting this is so weird.
It is.
Okay, because the way you just drew all those darker shadow shapes was you didn't start with like the way anybody else would do it that I've seen. Which would be like drawing the whole hand in that color and then adding the light shapes on top of that.
That was a mistake I learned from in one of the next hands.
Okay.
I fill the whole thing in and then add. This was definitely a learning experience.
Yeah, this is an insane way
If you're
to
watching
learn.
and trying to learn also, don't do what I just did. Give yourself a whole base to work off of.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna be like, no, that's just the way I do it, or if you were gonna be like, actually, or if you were gonna be like, actually, yeah, I did figure that out.
Yeah, no, I did figure. I figured some things out on this one, and other things I never figured out. Like I to this right now couldn't tell you
to this very right now.
To this right now, I couldn't tell you what the biggest takeaway from this particular hand was. I still wasn't terribly dissatisfied with how it turned out.
Okay.
But I did spend a lot of time just messing around with it, way more time than it really deserved.
No.
And I finally
I don't think so.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is cool.
Yeah, it got somewhere. But yeah, no, this one was interesting. I really had wanted to stick to this idea of 2 colors, and then here was another big thing that Cynic said in his video. You pick one of those colors, right? You pick either your dark color or your light color.
Okay.
All right, and let's say you're picking your 3rd shade.
Ooh.
And maybe it's a little variation on the shadow color.
Okay.
Maybe it's a little variation on the light color.
Uh-huh.
He said you only put that 3rd shade inside one of the other 2 colors, so it never crosses between the 2. You don't have a splotch of this new shade in a dark area and a light area. It only stays inside the area of one of those 2 tones.
Something that I know but I do not do. Yes.
I just learned it, obviously didn't do that here.
Never mix your light and shadows.
I think I tried to at the beginning, and then it quickly got away from me. But something I mentioned at one point was that sometimes it's easier to work with references that have a lot more sharp contrast. This one doesn't have as much very sharp contrast, which makes it a lot harder to pick out these subtle shifts in value, as well as hue. So that's probably why I spent so much
That
longer
paired
on
with
it.
a lot of crazy veins and, just the general forms of the hand here make this for a really tough subject matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get that contrast a little bit. Anyway, I will show that again at the end a little more slowly. But here, this one, so much easier. In fact, so much easier that I don't think I spent more than like 40 minutes, maybe half an hour on this pair of hands.
Really?
Whereas that last hand, singular, was maybe over an hour. But this is so contrasted. You've got your very light fingers and that very light shading on the, or highlight, rim light on the left hand. And so this came together very, very quickly. And then I added some red, I was like trying to keep in mind like, oh yeah, I still want this third tone to only be inside the dark or the light. But then I realized I wanted it to band the crossing between the two. I wanted this bright red orange to be kind of like my shift from the dark to the light in those areas.
Yeah, that's a pretty common technique.
Exactly.
I used it in my last video as well.
Yeah, so then I got confused about that original tactic. I was like, well then where do I employ the original tactic of the one shade and the other shade?
Well, it still is in the light and the shadow if you want to use that for that, but like it's on the border of it. It's on the terminator line. Mm-hmm. So it's still like technically, it's threading both.
Yes. I forgot I put that in. Tried to put them all on the same screen. Okay, last but not least. So I'm all warmed up now. There's no excuses
You are so
here.
warmed up.
Yes.
No excuses.
Yes.
We found some hands from TikTok.
They were on Pinterest, but
We found some hands from Pinterest from an Instagram reel that was on TikTok.
Yeah, probably something like that. And I have seen a TikTok of somebody who literally just does different hand poses. It says, hey, artist, you need reference? And then just does different hand stuff. So this is probably from one of those.
Okay.
You'll be so proud because as you spoke of in that second hand, like where I just blocked in like some of the shaded areas and not the whole hand.
Okay.
Look what's happening here.
I'm looking.
The whole hand.
The whole dang hand.
The whole hand is
Very
getting blocked
impressed.
in. And that was a lot of fun to do. I did this and listened to Brandon Sanderson's newest book.
Which is what?
It's the 5th book of his Wax and Wane series, which makes it the 7th book in the Mistborn series.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that there were. I thought the second set of Mistborn trilogy books was like the end of it all. For those Brando Sando heads out there.
Yeah, no, there's a new one now.
Very cool.
Yeah, although it's been so long since I listened to the original sets that I
need to go back and
what's
try
going on.
Mistborn again. I gave up on it pretty
Yeah.
early.
Oh, it's so good. But hey, that's fair.
I liked Elantris, Brandon Sanderson's Elantris.
Yeah.
I thought the first book of the Stormlight Archive was a long slog
It's a slog.
with like some good parts.
See, to me, those good parts felt like they expanded a little more to more of the book. Did you ever read, what is it called, Warbreaker? That's one of his early
that's
standalone.
another one-off. But
Yeah, I enjoyed that one as well.
You told me about it. You gave me the spark notes.
Yeah, it's like you were there.
yeah, I pretty much read it through you vicariously.
I'm reading that, and I'm reading Jade City by Fonda Lee. Also very, very good.
Yes, Drawbli is secretly a book show.
Yes.
Many people don't realize this, but the true fans do.
I know, the true fans know that I've read lately the Gideon the Ninth, Harrow the Ninth, and Nona the Ninth.
Yeah, so they keep track. There's actually a whole wiki article
On books Abby's read lately. Guess what? They're what's out and what's popular. No guesswork needed.
I'm really liking your hands. I'm really liking that you got really distinct here with the lights and shadows. The color choices that you've used look so cool. They
Thank
feel
you.
like they feel bestial, animalistic.
I love this set of hands. These hands, by the way, you don't know this because it's not the future yet, but this is the thumbnail for the video, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, because I like these ones the best.
It's some pretty cool hands.
I love the brush I ended up using for this too. This texture, do you see that?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you see that? I just picked it randomly from
Wow.
the Ahmed Al-Duri brush pack.
Just grab a
and
random brush and go.
It was just wonderful. Yeah, this was a joy to work on. It's always to me, whenever I'm like learning some new kind of technique, it's such a pleasure to get to like the last thing I draw of the day, if I'm drawing a lot that day, because by then I just am on fire, baby.
Whoa.
Yeah, or at least for what I know.
Sound a little overconfident.
I know. I'm like, look at my amazing hands.
Oh.
Hands.
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 Hands at home.
Hands at home.
Yes.
Anyway, there's my hands.
Wow. I mean, those are obviously my favorite out of what you did. This first one is actually exceptional. Like, if you zoom out or blur your eyes slightly, that looked like a hand.
Yeah.
That looked like a real good hand.
Thank you.
Very impressed. This one turned out really good too.
Thank you.
They all turned out so
This one was
good.
the struggle bus that I
It
abandoned.
might have been the struggle bus, but I think you clutched it.
Thank
clutched it in the
you.
end.
Aw. Well, hey, if you want to clutch it in the end, hit that subscribbling button and
Share your work online with #Drawbli.
comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goomba.
I love it when we make sustained eye contact at the end of the videos to say who's gonna talk first for this end slate part, and we just stare deeply into one another's eyes. I never have felt more connected. Oh, romance.